Hello everyone, Neilzabub here, putting off the final part of my Green with Envy miniseries again. But something came up that I wanted to talk about. Now, in my last video, I mentioned that I hadn't seen the Ninja Steel anniversary special Dimensions in Danger, and that I would probably talk about it in a future video. When I said that, I meant a nebulous, undefined future in which I did a big video about anniversaries in general. But I did watch the special, and there are a couple of things we need to talk about. Anniversary episodes are their own category, and I don't judge them the way I would normal episodes. So, for the most part, the plot is pretty inconsequential to me. Dimensions in Danger had a solid enough premise, but it didn't give me what I look for in a tribute episode. I like to see Rangers from past seasons come and make a glorious return. I like to see them treated like the legends they are, and get some moments to shine. None of that happened in Dimensions in Danger. Well, it only happened for one person, Tommy Oliver. In my last video, I mentioned that I wasn't a big fan of Once a Ranger, the 15th anniversary special. Watching Dimensions in Danger made me realize something. Maybe I'd been too hard on that special. I rewatched it recently to find that I liked it a lot more now than I did when I first watched it, 8 or 9 years ago. Jesus Christ. Today, I'm not going to just go into detail about why Dimensions in Danger failed to live up to its promise as the 25th anniversary special, but also about how its lack of care or interest in any past Rangers other than Tommy Oliver made me appreciate a story I had carelessly decided was stupid and didn't matter. So, I did not hate Dimensions in Danger. The premise was serviceable enough, and the cast of returning Rangers was very impressive. But none of that really mattered, because you could have easily just done the whole episode with just Tommy, and nothing really would have changed all that much. Don't get me wrong, I love Tommy. When I had my short stint playing Legacy Wars, it's not a good game. I played the White Ranger. I generally play the White Ranger if I play one of the old beat-em-ups, and will usually select either classic Green or White Rangers if given the choice. But that doesn't mean I want it to be the only choice. A Power Rangers game where the only playable character is Tommy just wouldn't feel like Power Rangers, and unfortunately, that's how I end up feeling about this special. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people comment that this episode should have been a two-parter. That would not have fixed things. The problem wasn't the amount of time, but what they did with the time that they had. So Tommy gets like 3 or 4 crowning of awesome moments when he only really needed 1 or 2. My first suggestion to make the episode better is to cut out evil robot Tommy. It was stupid, it didn't add anything to the story, other than a fight scene where Tommy got to show off his Ranger forms, which you could have just easily made part of the main final battle. If you want, you can keep the part where Tommy saves everyone as the Black Dino Ranger and just use that scene to introduce him into the episode. It would have cut out a lot of the unnecessary intro and would have allowed us to just get straight into the action as soon as possible. Having Tommy save the day with the Falcon Zord at the end was a terrible idea. It was cool seeing it again, but this episode shouldn't be about Tommy and his Zords. It should be about the Power Rangers. Forever Red gave the final coup de grace moment to the newest Red Ranger, and that was cool. Jason complimented him, and it felt like a proper passing of the torch and a confirmation of the legacy being in good hands. When Tommy says it at the end of this episode, it just feels hollow. Why are you congratulating the Ninja Steel Rangers? They didn't do anything, you did. If I was Tommy, I'd be like, you guys suck. Give me your morphers. I'm going to protect the Earth by myself. I mean, that's basically what he did anyway. Now, Once a Ranger was 2 parts while Dimensions in Danger was 1 part, but I'm not really interested in analyzing story. I'm going to compare how these storylines treated their returning Rangers. Let's watch Once a Ranger's introduction to the veteran Rangers.
It's great to be back. Hey! Let the games begin.
How did Dimensions in Danger introduce characters that weren't Tommy? Well, most of them were unconscious prisoners. Wes gets to explain the premise of the storyline, Coda is a caveman, and Gemma is a...
I'm Gemma, RPM Ranger Operator Series Silver.
Okay, this is one of the things that annoys me the most. Now, there aren't actually too many seasons post the Zordon era that I've actually seen in full, but I have watched all of RPM. And I would say that RPM is easily one of my favorite seasons from the show, and Gemma is a great character from RPM. Let's see how she is in the original show.
I'm with you, but nobody is going anywhere until we have a plan. Okay, while he
Makes a plan.
will make
Some really big
hobby stuff.
drop on that factory.
Yeah, not at all the same. Gemma and Jem were mostly a composite character who finished each other's sentences, which was annoying, but the point was that they were the loose cannons who wanted to take the fight to Vengex while everyone else was focused on protecting the people living in Corinth. People change and grow, but this is ridiculous. Gemma would never leave the battle to someone else. She'd want to go in and rescue the other Rangers as soon as possible. It's like the writers of this episode didn't bother watching any episodes of RPM to get a feel for the character or how she talks. She gets more than those guys, though. Kodo was a bit more than just a caveman in Dino Charge, but at least they kept his speech pattern and basic humor. I can't talk about Wes because I haven't watched most of Time Force. When I first saw Once a Ranger, the only reason I watched it was because Adam was in it. At that time, the only seasons of the show I had really watched were the Zordon era of my childhood. But since then, I've seen all the seasons that these characters come from, except for Mystic Force. And you know what? Once a Ranger actually did a pretty good job of portraying these characters. They were even given an out-of-suit fight where they got to use their civilian powers. When they're first introduced, you hear the theme song of their season, except for Adam and Mighty Morphin because Disney didn't have the rights. Their theme song plays again in the final battle as they fight with the Overdrive Rangers. Once a Ranger has a lot of story problems, and I'm not going to say it's a good special, but it was an amazing anniversary story, and the people behind it very clearly wanted to celebrate as much of the franchise as they could. Rewatching that storyline made me realize just how hollow Dimensions in Danger really was. So, let's imagine Once a Ranger if it was structured similarly to Dimensions in Danger. Oh no, we are screwed!
Don't worry, guys. I'm here.
It's Adam, the greatest Black Ranger! We're saved!
With this Master Morpher, I'm also the greatest Green Ranger!
There's a giant monster!
Frogzord! Seriously, we're going with Frogzord? Not like Mastodon or Lion? I take the green block. Okay, whatever. Frogzord!
Yeah, watching Adam save the day for us was epic. Hey, we're here too, and we're
More phenomenal! I'm awesome! Once a Ranger, always a Ranger!
Let's talk about the Master Morpher. I actually like the idea of it, but why is Tommy the only one who gets one? Kat, Rocky, and TJ have been in multiple Ranger teams. How cool would it have been to see Kat, Rocky, and Tommy morph into their original Mighty Morphin costumes, and then change together into their Zeo suits? How cool would it have been to see TJ start off as the Blue Space Ranger, but change to the Red Turbo Ranger to fight alongside the Ninja Steel Red Ranger? You could have had Tommy fight Dravon and had that be where he changes between all his different Ranger forms. There's a million ways you could have done this episode that gave more than just Tommy a chance to shine. So, let's talk a bit more about how most of the returning veterans got the short end of the stick. I want to talk about two in particular, Catherine Sutherland and Steve Cardenas. These are two actors who haven't been on the show since Power Rangers Turbo, which was back in 1997. So that is about 20 years. It has been roughly 20 years since they have appeared on the show. So, after about 20 years, they return and don't even get an individual morphing sequence or roll call. They don't get anything. They spend most of the episode unconscious and then have minimal involvement in the final fight. Now, if you hadn't wasted so much time on showing how awesome Tommy was, you could have given more time in the final fight to these other returning Rangers. Hey, you know how Gia was there and was a pointless addition? How about this? Since Gia is from Super Mega Force, the season where they used Ranger keys to use the powers of past teams, the veteran Rangers can be like, "We want to fight, but don't have our powers." Then Gia be like, "Pfft, I got you," and give them their Ranger keys. Not only do you explain how the old Rangers have their powers, but you would also justify Gia's presence and make her relevant without having to give her a lot of lines. I get the sneaking suspicion that this episode was written before they actually confirmed who they were getting back. But JDF is always willing to come back, so writing the story around him was a safe bet. Also, there's a new graphic novel centering around Tommy called Soul of the Dragon that involves him looking for his son, which is probably why his son is mentioned despite Tommy's fatherhood being completely irrelevant to anything. I'm guessing the Master Morpher is also going to be a central component to that. I was probably going to read the comic anyway and didn't really need elements of it established in this episode. All in all, the only people that I think really got something out of this episode are people who wanted to see Tommy, and that's fine, I guess, but you could have had him be cool without completely overshadowing the other characters. Like Forever Red, where the other Red Rangers call him a legend, but then make fun of him at the end.
Hey, wait. I changed history. So why does he have a fan club and I don't? Hey, I saved 2 worlds.
I am fine with JDF and Tommy being the face of Power Rangers. He's one of the most well-known and popular characters, but the franchise is bigger than him. Shattered Grid in its finale illustrated this perfectly. Even the Rangers that didn't speak still felt like they were important for the story. Tommy was still an important part of the narrative, but what makes him better than Dracon and what makes him strong is his friends, his team. I don't hate Dimensions in Danger, but it's now my least favorite anniversary episode. That's right, the Legendary War in Super Mega Force was better. It has its issues, but at least it wasn't all about Tommy. And even though most of the characters didn't get to talk much, it felt like their appearance was important, and that makes it better than what we got with Tommy and Pals. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to bring on Rangers of the past, make it feel like they matter. Make it feel like the present team matters. Make it feel like the legacy matters. And the legacy is more than just one person. That's all I have for now. Take care, and as always, may the power protect you.